Senator Wyden.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and let me commend you, Madam Chair, and the Vice Chair for the way in which you put the focus in this committee in a bipartisan way, and I commend you for it. And to all at the witness table, I thank you for your outstanding service. It's been an extraordinary year. Let me start with you, if I might, Director Clapper, with respect to Iran. I've come to believe that Iran's leaders are not going to give up their push for a nuclear weapons capability unless they believe it's going to cost them their hold on power. Do you share that assessment?
Senator Wyden, actually that's comports with the intelligence community assessment that if the decision is made to press on with the nuclear weapon, and there are certain things they have not done yet to eventuate that this would be based on a cost-benefit analysis, starting with the Supreme Leader's worldview and the extent to which he thinks that would benefit the state of Iran or, conversely, not benefit. So that's, I think, precisely where he is, and it will be done on a cost-benefit basis, and we don't believe he's made that decision yet.
What could convince them, in your view, that their hold on power is being undermined by their nuclear effort?
Well, I think, arrest of population because of the economic extremis that the country of Iran is incurring. If you look at the plunging value of the rial, if you look at two indicators that I think are important, and the extremely high unemployment rate in Iran, this, I think, could give rise to resentment and discontent among the populace, and there's not to say there haven't been other examples of that elsewhere in the region.
Now, on another subject, Mr. Director, you referenced a recent report that described how foreign spies, particularly those in China and Russia, are stealing our economic secrets. Can you give us some sense of what types of secrets these entities in China and Russia are most interested in stealing?
Well, the report you refer to is a National Counterintelligence Executive report that was issued this fall, which called out Russia and China for, particularly China, on their wholesale plundering, I guess, if you will, of intellectual property. And, of course, they seem most interested in our technology. Obviously, if they can save themselves the time and expense of doing R&D on their own and just steal it from us, that works to their benefit. So to the extent that they can penetrate unprotected industry networks, which they've done, unfortunately,
which industry networks, Mr. Director, do you think are most vulnerable now?
I think it's across the board. I think a lot of it's driven by what they can get access to, but I think it's pretty much carte blanche. Obviously, the more high tech for them, the better. And so this is a serious problem.
Let me move to a third topic, Mr. Director. In your view, could the peaceful revolution in the Arab world have happened if repressive governments in the region had been successful in censoring Twitter, Facebook, internet search engines, and electronic communications?
Well, in some cases they tried to do that. I am not sure the success of these upheavals, if you will, were completely dependent on social media. I think the basic problems in this region, particularly economic, repression of political freedoms and all that thing, would have bubbled up anyway. I think the social media simply helped foment and amplify that resentment when people understood it was a large collective. So I think the social media certainly facilitated it, but I don't think without it, they would not have happened. And of course, some of the governments reacted to that by their attempts to suppress such communications.
I won't continue this because I want to ask something of Mr. Goldberg, but I don't know how the word would have gotten out. I mean, if you look, for example, at the way phones are tapped in the region and a variety of other approaches, I don't think the word would have gotten out, and that's why I'm going to ask you a question, if I might, Mr. Goldberg. As you know, there's a discussion now in the Congress about whether or not Internet search engines should be involved in a censorship approach in terms of dealing with intellectual property specifically. Are you concerned that if that is done here, this could be a precedent which could make it harder for the State Department to go forward, for example, with Secretary Clinton's Internet Freedom Initiative? I've come to feel, at a minimum, it would be cited as a precedent, that if it's done here, you could have repressive governments around the world say, look at what goes on in the United States. They're supposed to be the leader in terms of freedom. Now we'll pick up on it. Are you concerned that this could possibly be a precedent?
I think that we're always concerned with many conflicting strains when policy and legislation is being discussed about the Internet and about how to solve various problems with the distribution of information, as well as how to protect private property, as is going on in the Congress at the moment. The Secretary of State, Secretary Clinton, has made very clear that Internet freedom is a very important principle and the overriding principle as we approach all of these issues. And I think when we consider whatever precedent is being set, whatever legislation is being considered, that's the primary interest that we need to consider. We also need to consider, though, and the administration has spoken about online piracy and how to deal with that very serious issue, and that this can be done within in a way that protects those freedoms, but also that is going to not change the architecture of the Internet.
Let me wrap up with you, Director Clapper, on an issue that I've asked about before at this open hearing. General Petraeus knows about this. This is the question of the use of force in a speech that was given by Mr. Coe, Harold Coe, the State Department lawyer. And let me note at the beginning, it's a matter of public record that the intelligence community sometimes takes direct action against terrorists, and this direct action sometimes involves the use of lethal force. And as you know, Director Coe gave a speech outlining our policy with respect to various terrorist groups. He talked about detention, talked about the use of unmanned drones, and noted that under U.S. law, the use of force against terrorist groups is permitted by congressional authorization, while under international law, it is permitted by America's right to self-defense. But in spite of having asked about this on a number of occasions, and General Petraeus, you know that I too share the chair's view with respect to your working with us here on this committee and you're being forthright. I've not been able to get an answer to this specific question, and I would like to know whether that speech that Mr. Coe gave contained unstated exceptions for intelligence agencies.
With respect to counterterrorism, it does not. So it applies to all components of the government involved in counterterrorism, be it military or non-military.
Are there other exceptions other than counter-terrorist activities?
Well, I believe his speech dealt with counterterrorism.
So you believe that his speech, the text of the speech, because this would be important, applies to all agencies. It applies to the intelligence community. His entire speech, the overall thrust of the speech, applies to all the intelligence community.
With respect to counterterrorism, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Wyden.